and then awesome. So we're going to get started. So I just want to say hi to everyone and to welcome everyone and thank everyone for being here today and taking the time to join with us. My name's Taya, and I'm the president and founder of the Animal Welfare and Advocacy Club, or AWAC. So on behalf of our executive team, which some of us are here today in the chat, we're excited to have you all here. Today's event brings together organizations and individuals who are doing incredible work across animal welfare, conservation, and community-based veterinary care. Whether you're here out of personal passion, academic interest, or career curiosity, we hope this event gives you a new perspective on how animal welfare work shows up in real, tangible ways. We'll be hearing from 3 speakers today. Each will share their work experiences and insights, and we'll hold questions until the end of each talk. With that being said, I'm excited to introduce our first speaker, Bianca from Urban Tails Rescue. Whenever you're ready, you can go ahead and start your presentation.
Thank you so much. I will share my screen with you all. Sorry, give me 1 second. As I say that, we just did our tech check and I've lost my slides. I'm so sorry. Let me see here. Okay. And I do apologize in advance if anyone happens to hear some sound in the background. I'm at the Animal Alliance holiday party. So if you hear anything, that's why. I do have noise canceling headphones in. So hopefully that keeps things relatively quiet for everyone. There we go. And you can see my slides. Okay, perfect. You guys can see that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Wonderful. Okay, so thank you for having me today. I'm really excited to be here. I wanted to start by introducing myself. So my name is Bianca Delbois, and I am I've been an animal welfare advocate for the better part of, I would say, over half of my life. I work across different sectors, and I work in different areas of animal welfare. So I am the founder and executive director of Urban Tails Animal Rescue. I also work with the Animal Alliance of Canada, director of development and communications here. And then I'm the president of an organization called GBAQT, which is a veterinarian-led group that delivers spay, neuter, and veterinary services in remote Indigenous communities in Ontario. And I am also the CEO of a marketing and communications agency. So outside of my animal welfare work that I am very much working full time on, I do marketing and communications as well. So with that being said, I have also recently been I've been accepted into an AI fellowship that's AI and animal protection. So I'm now learning how we can use new emerging technologies to actually better protect animals and and their welfare and their rights. So I work across the different sectors. Today, I'm only just going to be talking about Urban Tails and Animal Alliance of Canada, the 2 organizations that I believe there are opportunities for maybe some of the people on this call or anyone listening that might want to get involved in either or. So I'll go ahead and explain what those do. So Urban Tails Animal Rescue started as a traditional rescue in 2017. We were operating a foster and adoptions program at the time for a few years. It was a relatively small organization. It's grown over time. We are completely volunteer based, so nobody is paid through the organization at this time. Over the years, the mission has shifted. So we do a lot of community-based animal support. And the organization actually is undergoing a name change to reflect that as well. Just removing the name the word rescue from the organization name, just because we do far more than that now. So we offer a lot of different surrender prevention services, access to care services, and we do still operate a small adoptions program, but a lot of what we do is in partnership with other organizations. So that we do support are across urban and rural communities if we're working in Southern Ontario, and then we do work with a number of remote First Nations communities in Northern Ontario. We are often seeing dogs and cats, but we have done some farm animal care and small animal care as well. We've helped connect owners to different resources for emergency situations, connect them with access to emergency veterinary care, routine veterinary care, that kind of thing. We operate a pet food bank service by request, and then we also work with other organizations to stock their pet food banks at just at community food banks in the GTA area and in rural Ontario. So we, over time, and I think a lot the huge reason of why we kind of shifted towards this model with our organization is that a lot of the challenges that we do see with animals are connected to people. So we really are trying to keep people and pets together, because there are a lot of great rescues doing great work, but we're just trying to get to the root cause of the issues that we're seeing, which is housing insecurity. There's income barriers, lack of veterinary access. Some people are in what are called veterinary deserts, so they're really lacking access to care, transportation issues, that kind of thing. The organizations that we work with veterinary clinics and veterinary personnel. We work with other groups such as GBAQT, for example, who I mentioned earlier. They are actually a partner organization that works with us as well to deliver veterinary services. We work with other animal shelters and other rescue groups a lot, in terms of kind of creating that safety net for pets if we aren't able to accommodate them in our adoptions program, being able to transfer out to other groups. We work with animal shelters. We've had animals come to us from animal shelters, but have also facilitated large scale animal rescues with their help. We work with pet food and supply stores, wholesale. They give us wholesale donations so that we can stock our pet food bank and be able to supply these supplies and food to the general public or to other organizations. And then we work alongside women's shelters and co-ed shelters and other community centers as well. And we work with First Nations leadership and community members in various areas, mostly in remote Northern Ontario. There are some semi-remote communities that we work with as well. So with that being said, we are completely volunteer based, as I mentioned, at Urban Tales. So we have different areas of the organization that require support, and we are looking for volunteers. There are different ways for students to get involved, with either supporting our community support team itself, which is all the programs that we offer in the Greater Toronto area or in rural Ontario or in the remote communities. I'd say north of Thunder Bay for sure. Fundraising and events, advocacy and awareness. If anyone has any skills in photography or social media or anything like that, we're always looking for people to join, because it really does take a lot of different skill sets to be able to make this work happen. So I'll go in and explain a little bit more about Animal Alliance as well, and then open it up to questions. But that's kind of just the macro overview of Urban Tales and what we do. So we work for across the companion animal sector, animals in research. We have quite a long kind of a long-standing campaign with animals used in research that's ongoing. It's called the No Pets in Research campaign. Farmed animals as well as wildlife. So yes, instead of responding to individual cases, Animal Alliance does work on systemic reform. So Animal Alliance has, as I mentioned earlier, quite a few campaigns to work on policy and legislative action. So the No Pets in Research campaign is one campaign. It's Ontario specific. It was actually focused on closing a loophole in the legislation that allowed pound-sourced animals to be used in research in Ontario. So dogs and cats from shelters that had municipal contracts, if they were summoned, they were required to send dogs and cats for research. So we worked, to gather those records, to do that research, to be able to have the evidence-based information that we need to submit change that memos to ministries and whatever is necessary to make those changes happen. As many of you probably know, in Ontario, recently Doug Ford made his comments about ending the use of dogs and cats in research after an investigative report came out, and we are now working with government with, that's a historic change that has come about very quickly after all of these years of Animal Alliance and other groups doing this work. And so we're now working with the government to make sure that the legislation and the policy that's being proposed actually protects animals and doesn't leave room for any any harm to happen outside of kind of the scope that they're proposing. So Animal Alliance also works with on public education as well, and breaking down the information that we have in our reporting and our research to make it e- yeah, I guess easy to digest in the general public, and to be able to educate people on these topics so they're well informed to speak on them and to reach out to their MPs and MPPs about these issues as well. And then we also work alongside other coalitions and groups. The No Pets in Research campaign is one campaign. We also work on the Defenseless campaign, which is a campaign to end the use of piglets in military trauma training with the the Department of National Defense. And then we have some other campaigns focused on human wildlife conflict as well, and importation of endangered species like long-tailed macaques for use in research laboratories in the province and in Canada. So we do partner with other organizations and shelters. We partner with our advisory group of humane science that has veterinarians, scientists, doctors, subject matter experts, legal experts, and academics to kind of strengthen the policy and to strengthen our campaigns. And then we also work with other advocacy organizations to apply pressure in a coordinated format as opposed to working in silo. Sorry, might get a little bit loud behind me. There's somebody walking past me right now. I'm so sorry. So if you wanted to get involved in Animal Alliance, there's advocacy and campaign support, fundraising and events, political outreach, coordinated communications. There are other areas, just as I mentioned before, that would be helpful outside of the standard, outside of the standard animal care and things like that. So there are other ways too. You could always reach out and talk to us about that. And then just the final word and piece of advice is just to try different organizations and try different roles. If I were to give a piece of advice to anyone here on the call or anyone watching or recording today, animal welfare is a broad field. There are many areas of focus. So you don't, I always encourage people to try different things to see what you find the most meaningful. Sometimes starting off, doing hands-on work in a shelter is great, but then you might notice that you wanted to use maybe something you've learned academically or a skill that you have that you've honed over time that you want to apply to help animals. There are all kinds of ways you can make that happen through communications, fundraising, community engagement, networking, research, digital content, graphic design, like anything you could think of. I know all kinds of people in this sector and industry that have multiple talents, and they apply all of them and do such a great job. So if you're ever feeling like you would like to get involved in any kind of organization, you're not really sure where to start, just know that there are so many entry points and different options available to you. I have my contact information here, so if anyone wanted to contact me, I've got my Animal Alliance email, I've got the socials and the website, and then I have my Urban Tales email there. If you're interested in any of the other work that's going on at GBAQT, then I'm happy to share other information with you, but that's there. If anyone wanted to screenshot it and get in contact with me, I'm always happy to answer questions. And yeah, hopefully that was helpful. I tried to make sure I was in our 30 minutes. I think I did good time.
Awesome. So if anyone doesn't have, if we don't have any questions, then
I had a question.
oh,
Mhm,
Hi, thank you so much for sharing that. As someone who's pursuing a legal career, like in law school, I just
mhm,
finished my undergrad. I'm so excited to kind of see how we can kind of protect our little furry friends. A really
mhm.
important question that I had was, since Animal Alliance works with so many different organizations and experts, how do you make sure that each partnership gets enough time and attention to create real progressive change?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the organization had partnerships with other orgs and kind of coalitions that they were a part of since long before my time here. So since 1990, actually, when the animal rights movement was relatively small here and relatively small in general, and they were able to build relationships over time. And Animal Alliance is one thank you and to have these conversations, but also donors as well and supporters of the organization.
Amazing.
So there's actually a very hands-on approach here in terms of phone calls. Of course, we email supporters and email partners for updates and things like that, but there is still a very hands-on component here. In terms of the partners that we work with on a regular basis, I'm actually I'm actually the person that does a lot of that. So I regularly communicate with different partners, like our advisory group on humane science, for example. They work on our with us on the No Pets in Research campaign specifically. We have regular communication, so via email or phone call or whatever the situation is. There are kind of subsections of that advisory group that work on different things. So actually, there is a group of legal experts, and we also have a lawyer that works with us on staff here at Animal Alliance too, and we have different conversations about different pieces of the legislation. Whereas if I connect with the academics and the ethicists and the philosopher, like the doctorate holding academics that are in philosophy and ethics, we might talk about different aspects of the legislation, and they actually really help with the wording of the legislation alongside the legal team. And then we've got the scientists and the researchers, for example, that we would really go to them to make sure that we're putting the most accurate information out there if we're speaking about new approach methodologies or NAMs, or if we're talking about any sort of modernization as it pertains to like the use of animals in research. We really pull on their expertise and knowledge about that. So we've got some great people on the team.
Thank you so
So yeah.
much. I really appreciate you kind of giving me a rundown.
Mhm.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that, Bianca.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for the question. That was a good question.
So we do have one question in the chat,
Mhm.
and this person asks, what has been the most rewarding part of your job, or has there been a specific success story with the animals?
I think probably there have been a few over the years. There's quite a bit. I was actually just on a panel the other day talking, and I was speaking to somebody else, and I was just like, I actually very rarely stop to take in good moments. I'm like, okay, what's next? What's next? What's next? I felt a lot of people in the animal welfare space, I'm sure other panelists on this call may have similar feelings where it's like you're kind of always moving on to the next thing. So when I was and so one of the we did a lot of trust building in the community itself. I had a good relationship with some community members there, but we did have to really work at getting certain services accepted. So we did things very slowly there. So we just started by delivering, some routine care, some grooming and things like that. We moved on to doing a spay and neuter clinic in this past June. And one of the former chief actually of the community who um, he never really had a close relationship with the dogs in the community or his own personal dogs, and he kind of had a different view of things. But he said he knows that the community wanted the services, so that's why he was open to it. And he actually brought his dog to the spay and neuter clinic, and he was in love with this dog that he brought in. It was this little like 8-month-old puppy, and he came in to have him get vaccinated and to get some services done, and just said thank you. And his whole view of animals had changed in this like year and a half time frame. So that was actually a really nice moment too, because we just had really good chats about that. And I was like, what changed? What kind of, made you not only like now you own a dog, but you're in love with this dog. Just the way that he was handling him was adorable. And he's just like, oh, it was my daughter. It was my daughter. It wasn't me, but I love him. So just those little things like that and seeing attitudes change is, I'd say probably one of the most rewarding things.
So the person said, such a great insight and great to see that change. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you. It's a good question.
So does anyone else have any other questions? Okay.
I actually had
First,
another question.
okay,
I'm
one
so
more
sorry.
question. Go ahead.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so have you seen cases where public pressure directly accelerate a policy or legislative change? Because I know that you kind of mentioned Doug Ford, and you kind of
Hmm.
mentioned how public pressure kind of can help, with animal welfare. But
Hmm.
do you have any specific examples, maybe of the past year?
Oh yes, the actually the best example is this recent the Doug Ford and the investigative journalism piece on the dogs that were being used in research in the London hospital. So those dogs that were being used, there was a colony being used for cardiac research. So that public pressure campaign is, I'd say, easily the most identifiable one in the last year. That campaign is the one that actually had Doug Ford made the comments that he made,
Mhm.
and then from there we were able to keep the pressure on. We actually use a software, if anyone's interested. I don't know if you guys run campaigns like this, but it's called New Mode. If anyone's unfamiliar, New Mode, you're allowed to run campaigns on there, but you can actually CC we had the CC, or the letters that we had were kind of a pre-filled email. It's actually on our website. If you went on Animal Alliance and went to the No Pets in Research campaign, you would see it. It's a pre-filled in email that you can edit, but it actually goes to the premier and it CCs your MP and MPP on that. So it keeps the pressure on, because the inbox is like, the amount of submissions that we had in that campaign was close to 2,000. So just imagine like 2,000 emails going to the premier's
That's
office, CCing,
amazing.
yeah, like the relevant bodies and things like that. And
Wow.
the investigative journalism piece was very helpful, and that public pressure is really what had him move this. And it's had its second reading. So now the House is on their break, but the second reading was done for that Bill 75, and then there's the subsequent OMAFA has they made amendment or a proposal for amendments to the Ontario's Animals for Research Act. So that's something separate but
Wow.
running concurrently at the same time. So that is the, I'd say, the number one, and just in the last year, that I would
That's
say.
amazing.
Yeah, but there's other campaigns too, like the cosmetic testing ban
Yeah.
in 2023. Yeah, like the Animal Alliance was one of the groups that was responsible for that,
Wow.
alongside some other great groups too. So that was like another just example that comes to mind. But public pressure if it's a coordinated effort and it's done well, it's really impactful.
Amazing. Thank you so
Hmm.
much, Bianca.
Absolutely.
I feel like I've never heard about that, so I'll definitely take a look at that.
Hmm.
You said it was new mode, correct?
Yes, yeah. So
And okay,
if you
wow.
actually go on our website and then click just right at the like right in the hero section there, there's the
Yeah,
Ontario. If you click it and just scroll to the action item, you'll see kind of what it looks like, and then how, when
amazing.
you put in your postal code, and it'll geotag your MPP on there as
Wow.
well.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
I definitely need to take a look at that. I think
Hmm.
our club would really benefit from that. So thank you so
Hmm.
much. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, great questions.
Awesome.
Um, so I think that's it, unless someone else has anything else to ask or share.
I mean, I just wanted to also know as well, like you kind of mentioned getting involved, but do you find that you are seeing a lot of, because you mentioned if you're like software marketing, there's like so many different,
Hmm.
avenues that you can be involved in. Like how does being involved kind of, help, students who want to be, in the career, be in the industry? Are we working with people who have longer careers in it? Are there like,
Hmm.
opportunities for mentorship and things and things like that?
Yeah, it really depends on the organization, but absolutely, there are actually employees at Animal Alliance who started as volunteers and ended up
Wow.
becoming staff members. And I'd say it's happened at other organizations as well. There's another great group called AEL, and they're actually
Yeah.
lawyers. Yeah, and Kira, who's a part of AEL, is actually a lawyer that just joined the Animal Alliance team, and they've got
Wow.
volunteers and students that work with them, and they've got there's volunteers and students that work with other groups as well, like yeah, AEL and animal justice and things like that. So especially if you're in law, there are areas that you can get involved in
Oh my
um,
God, I'll
as
definitely
a
take a look at
volunteer.
that.
Yeah, and then that could potentially turn into a career as well.
Thank you.
Hmm.
Okay, now I think that's it. So I want to thank Bianca for coming and sharing her work. We really do appreciate you taking the time here with us today.
Great, thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, no problem. It was great to learn. I really enjoyed it. Okay, so next we're going to shift focus from urban welfare to wildlife conservation, specifically one of Ontario's most at-risk and overlooked species. I'd like to welcome Lisa from the Ontario Turtle Conservation Center. Whenever you're ready, Lisa, you can go ahead, share your slides, and start your presentation. Also, just a disclaimer, my Wi-Fi is a little bit in and out right now. I was kind of glitching through the presentation. If anything happens, I will start a new Zoom call. Just wanted to warn everybody.
Sounds good. Okay, hopefully everyone can hear me all right. Let me know if you can't or something goes wrong. I'll just share my slides. Okay, so hopefully you can all see that. Yeah, so a little bit different, just switching gears to wildlife conservation here. So my name is Lisa. I'm the education coordinator with the Ontario Turtle Conservation Center. I don't know if anyone has heard of us, but we are located in Peterborough, Ontario. And we are a registered charity. Let's just make sure I can switch my slide here. Okay. So we're a registered charity, nonprofit, and an accredited facility with the College of Veterinarians of Ontario. So we're basically like a clinic, but for turtles specifically. As a registered charity, there's a lot of different challenges that we face, but it's a very heartwarming organization. It started out in the early 2000s, inspired by a group of kids who were called Kids for Turtles. And it became a registered charity in 2002 called Kawartha Turtle Trauma Center. So it was really just reaching out to turtles in the Kawartha area. But as the demand just kept growing, there's really no other place like this in Ontario that specializes just in Ontario's native turtle species. Because so many people were seeing turtles injured and wanted to help, we expanded to all of Ontario. So we became Ontario Turtle Conservation Center. We changed our name around 2016. And over the years, it has just grown. So initially, it started out very small. It was actually in one building, the old monkey house at the Peterborough Zoo. And as they were taking in more and more turtles, they needed more and more space. And here we are at our new facility. We're now located on Television Road in Peterborough. 100 acres is being donated to us very generously by Mary and Jerry Young, who had a farm. Their family had a farm on this property for generations, and they wanted it to go towards something worthwhile. So they reached out to us around 2019, and finally we had a capital campaign to raise money for this new build. And so we have a new facility now. I encourage you all to check it out or come and visit us, and much more space for all the turtles that we are intaking and helping out. So we do have veterinarians who treat the turtles and vet techs as well. And our own director, Sue Carstairs, who's on the bottom right there, she is also a veterinarian. So it's really neat because it is full of professionals in the medical field, but also we're a conservation organization. So there's just a lot of different people from different areas of conservation involved in this. And I'll explain a little bit about how we operate and what we do. So we kind of take a multi-pronged approach to our work. So we have the hospital for these injured or sick turtles that we're treating. We have a Head Start and hatchling program. We also, for over 10 years, had a fieldwork program tracking these some of these turtles out in the wild. So research, and also an education and outreach program. So we're kind of tackling conservation in a few different ways. Now, we only take in Ontario's native freshwater turtles, and there are 8 different species in the province. So here's all 8 of them listed. You may be familiar with the snapping turtle with the long tail. It looks very dinosaur-like, very prehistoric looking, or the painted turtle that's got both the yellow and red markings. A lot of people have seen those two. Definitely 2 of the species we get in the most. But because all 8 of Ontario's turtles are in decline. They're facing many threats, many of which are caused by human activity. And here is just a whole list of different threats that our turtles are facing. Habitat loss being the #1 threat that all 8 species are suffering from. So from development, draining of wetlands, pollution of wetlands, building on top of wetlands, building roads through wetlands, which causes road mortality, another really big threat for them, poaching and the illegal pet trade. So there's actually still a big illegal pet trade on the black market going on. And unfortunately, some of these native species get targeted for that and sold to other countries. Fishing and boating accidents, predation, climate change, of course, pollution, invasive species. A lot of these threats are caused or influenced by humans and our activities. So because they're all rapidly declining, all 8 are now listed as a species at risk federally. So every single species is facing extirpation. So that means no longer found in a certain area, such as Ontario or So these are our intake numbers from this past year. Actually, I think our intakes are now at 2,000, around 2,500. So that is just injured and sick turtles that were admitted in 2025. And that's a very high number. You know, like when they first started in the early 2000s, they were getting a couple turtles a year to maybe 50 turtles a year. 100 turtles was a big number. And we, within the last 5 years, have been consistently getting over 1,500. And last year, 2024. So we're pretty close to what we were at last year. But it seems like as the awareness is spreading on injured turtles and people want to help them, and we have this hospital where we can give them that second chance, we're seeing more and more intakes. I'll also talk about our egg incubation program. We had 10,000 eggs incubating this year, and we released 4,000 turtles back home again, which I'll explain a little bit about in a second as well. So about 90% of our patients have been hit by a car on the road. So within those 2,500, about 90% hit by a car. So that's the #1 reason we're seeing these turtles come in and treating injuries related to those accidents. They don't stay in one place their whole life. They do often travel. So of course we know turtles live in wetlands, like our marshes, bogs, swamps. They live in lakes and rivers, but they use both land and water. So freshwater turtles are a bit different from, you know, like sea turtles who are quite aquatic and live in saltwater, or tortoises who are land only. We don't have any tortoises in Canada. Of course, sea turtles on either coast, but in Ontario, we have these freshwater turtles, and they will travel to access different different needs. So depending on what their need is and season, this changes seasonally. So when they come out of hibernation, they might be looking to find a mate. So they'll have to travel to search for a mate. Of course, in the spring, May and June are really busy nesting season months when the females have to lay their eggs on land. And sometimes they pick the worst spots to do this, unfortunately. But again, I'll talk more about that. And then come the fall, they've got to travel again to find a suitable place to spend the winter and hibernate. So in the winter, they're hibernating, but they need specific conditions to do this. So between these kind of seasonal behaviors and activities, they do travel, and sometimes travel very far on land to do so. Sometimes we have simply built a road right through their home wetland. So it's not even that they're traveling very far, they just want to get to the other side of their home. And it could be that there's better basking spots on one side, or better access to the sun, or better food sources for foraging. So of course, road fragmentation is a big issue where we have built roads right through their home and fragmented their home. And of course, they have to cross, and this is very dangerous for them. This is a map. We don't have our 2025 numbers on here quite yet, but from 2020 to 2024, this is focused on Southern Ontario, where you can see every single dot is an injured turtle that was admitted to our hospital. So we're getting them from all over Southern Ontario, not just the Peterborough area, and they're coming from hours away because there's just nothing else like this in the province for specializing in turtles, accredited facility for long-term rehabilitation. Sometimes we even get turtles as far north as like Dryden, Sioux Lookout, Kenora, Thunder Bay. So certain species won't go, you wouldn't find their range as far north as that. So that's why majority are in Southern Ontario. But there's two species, the painted turtle and the snapping turtle, that are found in Northwestern Ontario. And we do get some of them in, not as many. There's probably not as much awareness up there about our hospital. Also, probably less roads. There could be a variety of reasons. Also, it's just very far away. But we have gotten some turtles from there, and that's can be over a 20-hour drive to get them to our hospital. So the question is, how do we get them all to us? And as we're nonprofit, what we really operate on, most of our work is done by volunteers. So we have a small team of full-time staff, probably less than 10. Then we have, in the busy season from May to August, we have our summer students that we hire. So this is just a summer job in various aspects of the hospital to help us out when we're most busy. But we have volunteers that help us all year round to make this work possible. And how we get the turtles to our hospital, if the finder doesn't have time to drive it because they're coming from so far away, we can reach out to our network of turtle taxi drivers, we call them. And anyone can sign up as a turtle taxi driver. It's a pretty low commitment. You just get put on an email list and you start receiving emails when an injured turtle is in need of a drive. And we actually do the coordination. So you only respond if you have time to do the drive, and you don't have to do the full, like if it's a 3-hour long drive, we will break up the drive into suggested connections, and we actually relay the turtle to our hospital in Peterborough. So one driver who may be local to where the finder found the turtle will do the first part of the drive and meet up with someone who's local to the second part of the drive, and then meet up with a third person and relay the turtle to us. So it's a huge community, province-wide effort to get these turtles here. And we even have what we call first responders. So these are veterinarians or the whole clinic involved in acting as a stopover point for these turtles, so that they're receiving pain meds, fluids, being stabilized on their journey to us, so that the turtles don't have to wait too long to be taken out of any pain and just be stabilized until they get to us, because some of those trips are pretty long. So we have so sometimes it's the whole clinic who wants to sign up and be on board to be a first responder. And now that we have this new facility, we are able to, even if they want, come fully into our hospital and be trained by our veterinarians on how to stabilize the turtles. And we provide them with all of the supplies that they need. So all the drugs, the pain medication, all of that, we supply them, and they're doing it voluntarily. And sometimes it's a veterinarian who's doing it from their own home, like outside of their regular job. So again, just so many people involved in making this possible. And we've even had volunteer pilots fly turtles to us. So this is Wayne, and he has done a few flights for us from those Northern Ontario locations. And he, all these drivers are doing it on their own dime. And for flying, that's quite a bit for the cost of fuel, but he wants to fly and he wants to do something worthwhile at the same time. So just to quickly go over how we are even able to help a turtle that's hit by a car, because sometimes it can look very severe, and you might wonder, how are they even able to survive being hit by a car? Well, turtles are very resilient and they can overcome quite severe injuries. And because they have this protective shell, it does help them, but we do need to assist them so that they can overcome it. And so basically, often when they're hit by a car, their shell takes the damage and there'll be fractures in the shell. Sometimes the whole shell can be shattered depending on the species. Sometimes like Blanding's turtles can really, their whole shell can shatter when they're hit by a car. And because a turtle's shell is made of bony plates and layers of keratin, we treat it like a broken bone that, you know, humans would have treated. So they essentially use things like surgical tape, and they use orthopedic wire and dental drills to loop wire through on either side of the fracture and tighten so that it holds those fractures in place, and so that the bone and the shell can regrow and reattach and mend, given that support and time to do so. So that's what it would look like once it's healed up. The fracture's in place, it's very secure. And if all goes well and there's no other injuries, they would be released back home again. I do have a short video of a vet treating an injury. So this is a painted turtle. So hopefully this will work. Let me know if it doesn't.
Okay, so this is a little female painted turtle, and she came to us having been hit by a car. She's nice and bright, but you can see on the hind end here, her carapace has been fractured. So a few hours ago, she had some good pain medication, which means she's now ready to have her surgery. This is a very minor shell fix, so what I'm going to do is use wire to pull this back together. And with that pain medication on board, she's perfectly fine to go ahead with that. And she doesn't actually have to be asleep for that, which is nice, makes it much safer. So what I'm gonna do is make a couple of holes with a drill, and then I'm gonna use some wire to pull that together. And then after a couple of months, that'll actually knit together just like a human bone would, and it'll heal up very nicely and her shell will look almost perfect. Just gonna make a couple holes here. Make sure that I have all the soft tissue tucked away. And you can see there was no reaction there because she's had that pain control. So we're doing everything we can for her. Now, the tricky part can be getting this to fit perfectly. So I'm going to use this stainless steel wire through these holes that we've made and make a brace, basically. So I'll pull it together nice and tight, and then I want it to be really tight so that there's no movement whatsoever in that shell. And then the chances of a full recovery are much higher if we do this. Which is, you know, this is why it's important to bring these turtles to us, because we have what's needed. We have the pain control to make this possible. We have the equipment to make it possible. Now you can see her shell looks pretty much normal again. There's no movement there when I try to move it around. It's all smooth, and like I said, after a couple of months, I will be able to take that wire out of there and she'll have a fully functioning waterproof shell.
Okay, so that just shows how we treat it. That there's obviously a lot more to it than that, but that is a big part of it. You'll see a ton of patients that have wire holding their shell in place, and it does take a couple months for their shell to heal. Sometimes we have turtles hit by boat motor propellers who have lost movement in their limbs if their spine is damaged. We actually have a physio program. One of our volunteers is a retired physiotherapist who has created physio for turtles specifically, and they have to climb over like little obstacles and ramps, and they have swimming exercises because sometimes they can't walk on land. Sometimes it's that they can't swim in water, and they have a little life jacket made of bubble wrap to help them float while they're doing this. So there's just so many people involved, and a lot of them volunteers. We have turtles who have scrapes along their carapace, broken limbs, head trauma. They've lost part of their beak, or their jaw is damaged. And you know, if there's an infection, then they'll give them antibiotics. We've had turtles come in with fishing hooks. There's a spiny softshell, which is an endangered species, with a fishing hook and line coming out of its beak, and you can see it on the x-ray. They're able to take them out. We've had turtles attacked by predators like raccoons, who are actually their populations are influenced by humans, of course, with our waste and in urban areas. So predation is really bad with raccoons for some of these turtles who spend more time on land, like the wood turtle. They can lose limbs. There's Rusty. He's only got 2 legs, but he's one of our education turtles now. He can't swim in deep water, so we have him. You can actually come meet him in our new facility in our education area. So if they can't be released, if the vets don't think that they would survive in the wild, if their injury will really hinder them like his, then we can keep them and have permits to have them as an education ambassador and teach people about how to avoid these sort of things, or just, you know, teach them that we exist and that sort of thing. And we can actually still help a dead turtle in a way, or we can help their babies. So we still want you to bring in turtles that might be dead. There's a chance that they actually aren't, because they can really look like they're dead and they're actually still alive. Turtles can stay really still, and even a vet can't tell until they use their Doppler to see if there's a heartbeat. But because June's a really busy month, a lot of them are coming in, they're females who were out nesting, and they got hit by a car before they had a chance to lay their eggs. So we have an x-ray room where our vets can count how many eggs the turtle is carrying, and then they'll actually lay them here at our hospital. It's not good for them to keep it in. They could become egg bound. So they lay them here. And then our animal care team, which is a summer student job, will plant all these eggs and then incubate them all. And those eggs are going to hatch at our hospital. And even if the turtle did pass away, let's say they come in, maybe they've already passed away, we can extract eggs from a dead turtle and plant them and give their babies a chance to survive. So then they'll hatch at our facility. There's a little snapping turtle hatchling hatching. And again, our animal care team, which is summer student job, is doing all this. And then we have thousands of babies that hatch here. And to make sure they have the best chance of survival, we actually will keep them over winter, which is a conservation strategy a lot of groups do. It's called head starting. Give them time to grow, to be a bigger size, strengthen their shell, and increase their chances of survival when they get released back home again the next spring, summer. And they're always released back to their mother's wetland where she was found. And this is because hatchlings have about a 1% chance of survival in the wild. And with turtles being really late to mature, not till 15, 20, can they help their populations and reproduce. That means that it can take an adult snapping turtle 60 years before one of her babies has reached maturity and replaced her in the population. 60 years of trying to lay eggs every year and hoping that one will survive to replace her in the population. Which is why the turtles are rapidly declining, because with the adults being hit by cars, they're the ones that are keeping those populations going, and now they're the ones being killed by habitat loss, being hit by cars, and that is a huge blow to the populations. Even one adult that's lost is a big blow. So if we can even just save one adult, that is a big win for them. Then releases is all volunteers, so people can sign up to release the turtles back home again. It has to be within a certain range of where they came from originally. And we have tons of volunteers that help us with that. So if you're interested, you can always sign up and get training on that. There's a painted turtle going back home again. You can see it's injured. Usually they come in one summer and then they'll be released the following summer typically, just because it takes them quite a while to heal, and keeping them over winter gives them that time to make sure that they're all good, and then they'll return back home again the next spring, summer. So of course, to help turtles, mitigation efforts are needed in pairing with rehabilitation. So rehabilitation actually really, we have a paper on our website that shows for turtles specifically, it actually really makes a difference in their populations because they are so resilient, and because the adults are so critical to the population numbers. So rehabilitation, but on its own isn't enough. So we still need other mitigation efforts like road signage. We need people helping them off the road, of course, if it's safe, if you can, and eco passages, which is a big one. So culverts under roads, wildlife fencing you may have seen, to give them a safe passage, because the threat is still there when they get released. We've had turtles repeat patients because we microchip them all before they're released, and we can scan them to see whether they have a microchip when they come in. And we've had turtles who have a microchip and we can see when they've come in the past. And sometimes they're hit by a car on the same stretch of road. So though we're giving them that second chance, if we can have more eco passages installed, this would really help, but it's up to the community to voice their concerns to the township or municipality about it to try and get those installed. We don't actually have authority on that. We can provide data on it, but we need more communities involved in that sort of thing. So yeah, just you can help a turtle if it's healthy on the road, just get it across in the direction it's facing. So just always take it, rule of thumb, in the direction it's headed if it's just a healthy turtle trying to get across. If you find an injured turtle, give us a call, and just make sure you put holes in the lid that you contain the turtle in, and never give an injured turtle water so that they don't drown, just a dry container, and then write down the location you found it. And it's very important that we have turtles because we call them the caretakers of our wetlands. So they really help with harmful bacteria levels. So they eat a lot of sick and dead plants and animals, and carry on decaying animal material, and they'll clean up the water essentially and keep those harmful bacteria levels low. It provides healthy habitat for all sorts of other wildlife, especially since wetlands are home to some of the most biodiverse, rich ecosystems. So tons and tons, thousands of plants and animals, amphibians, insects, fish populations, mammals, other reptiles. And having healthy wetlands provides us a ton of ecosystem services. So if you want to look at it as what benefit do humans get, I mean, obviously, of course, turtles, we just want to help anyways because they're so cool, and you know, you want to help an injured animal, but they do also help us. They healthy wetlands provide us clean drinking water, a clean drinking water system, natural flood mitigation, and natural carbon storage to combat climate change. So they do play a very important role that helps us at the end of the day. Of course, give us a lot of recreational activities that we enjoy. So yeah, you can definitely help in many different ways, but advocate for road signs and eco passages in your area. Call us if you find an injured turtle. You can protect turtle nests on your own property as well so that they don't get eaten by predators. And then of course, volunteering with groups such as ours. We have in-house volunteers who help us with feeding and cleaning the patients, the turtle taxi driving. And then there's, of course, those summer student positions that we post about in various areas. Use apps like iNaturalist to record your observations and spread the word to your family and friends. So I'd love to answer any questions that you do have, if there aren't.
I actually do have a question myself. If someone wanted to volunteer at your organization, how do they go about filling out an application?
Yeah, so you know what you could do is the best thing is to send us an email at volunteer@ontarioturtle.ca, and we'll talk you through, you know, the different opportunities, and they'll give you a form to fill out. And if it's an in-house, like if you wanted to do something in-house with the feeding and cleaning, then they'll probably set up an orientation so that you can come in and see the place and talk about what that might look like. Versus turtle taxi driving, they'll probably just send you an email with a whole bunch of information and you'll get added pretty quickly on the list. But yeah, volunteer at ontarioturtle.ca. That should be on our website as well.
Okay, perfect. We also have one question in the chat. Mia asked, she said she's wondering if there are any specific reasons why baby turtle survival rate is so low, and also how many permanent turtles you have currently.
Good question. So babies have such a low chance of survival because a few different reasons. So different from some mammals who have lots of parental care, the babies really don't have very much. The strategy for turtles is to spend a lot of effort looking for a good, suitable place for the nest to lay their eggs for them to incubate, and pick certain conditions that would be good for the eggs to incubate. And to repeatedly do this every year. And as the turtle gets older, they'll get a little bigger, so they'll actually have more space for more eggs. But once the female has finished laying her eggs, she heads off and she doesn't ever check on them. There is no staying with the babies, no helping them out in the wild. So when they hatch, they're very much on their own and very soft. Their shell is very soft. They haven't had a chance to get UV rays to strengthen it. And they're just the perfect snack size food for so many other animals and predators. So there's so many things that eat them. They have to travel from where they hatch to water, which is a safe place. But some of these turtles, it's interesting, we're still learning more about why they pick such faraway places. But some of them will lay eggs, their nests, several kilometers away from water. So it's a big journey for these turtles, these babies, to make. And then there's birds that want to eat them. There's obviously mammals like raccoons that want to eat them. Once they get into water, if they do make it to water, then there's fish that will eat them. So there's just so much against them. And they also typically hatch in the fall, which is really bad timing because a lot of animals are gearing up for winter. So they might be really stocking up on their food sources. Also, winter is a harsh time for turtles, and temperature affects all their movements. So once it starts getting cold, if the baby hasn't made it to a suitable hibernating spot yet, they're just not going to survive. So all of that to say, that's why their survival rate is so low. And how many permanent turtles do you currently have? So permanent turtles, out of our education ambassadors, we have 11 that are permanent. They're not going to be able to be released, and we have permits to have them as education turtles. And then if there's any others that throughout the years don't look like they'll be released, like we already have enough education ambassadors, but other groups can actually apply for permits to take them on as an education ambassador. So we've had other organizations apply and take any ones that come up that can't be released that we can't keep will then get sent to some of these other credible groups who have those permits.
Mia also said, "Oh, I see. It's very habitat based, and on your own, that must make it very difficult. I didn't realize they had such soft shells at first. Thank you so much."
Yeah, they can have really
I
soft.
also, oh, sorry.
No worries.
I wanted to add also, I just finished writing an ecology exam. And when you were saying how turtles have little to no parental care, it like related to, we learned in ecology, they're called R selected species, you probably know. And it's like they produce many offspring, but they have little to no parental care, which makes their like juvenile mortality really high. And I just find that very interesting, like that turtles have to, you know, that turtles are basically part of our selected species as well. I don't know.
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
found that very interesting.
That's a good point. Yeah, because like yeah, different animals will have different strategies, and
Yeah.
that's the one that turtles have, and it's worked for them for so many years. Like turtles have been around since before the dinosaurs,
Yeah.
and even outlived those mass extinctions. But since industrialization, they have seen huge declines, and I think it's because the adults are, once they hit a certain point as an adult, they should be, there's of course still predators that can attack them, but if they didn't have all these challenges that we're causing them, the adults should have a better chance of survival once they get to a certain, to that age. And so that worked for them for a long time, and now it's not. And so we're causing them so many issues. We need to, and that's what we're trying to do with this hospital, is kind of mitigate and help them because of all that we're causing them.
Yeah. It's sad when you think about it.
Yeah.
But it's amazing work that your organization does. Does anyone else have any further questions? I'm going to take that as a no. So yeah, so thank you, Lisa. That was very, very informative and also very eye-opening. For our final speaker, we're going to be moving into the realm of veterinary medicine and community outreach, focusing on how veterinary care can be more accessible and equitable. So I'd like to welcome Dr. Angela Smith. I'm going to share my screen so that we can see the slides.
Thank you, Tia. I'm not very great with the computer and the technical stuff, so sharing a screen is a very big challenge for myself, so I appreciate your help. So thank you, everybody. I really appreciate the invitation to come and speak today about community veterinary outreach. My name is Dr. Angela Smith. I've been a veterinarian for almost 25 years. My undergrad I did at York University, Bachelor of Science, mainly on ecology, population ecology as well. After 9 years of being in practice, I got a bit of an itch. I wanted to do more. I love the public health arena, so I did my master's in public health, finishing that in 2012. Thought I might go into government, but instead found myself opening up my own hospital and focusing on my community and helping out my community just to get my feet wet, see where it could go, and been very privileged to be a part of the national charity called Community Veterinary Outreach. Next slide. So I thought I'd actually tell you just a little bit about a couple clients. This is Molly and Jeremy. I've known them for probably 8 years now. They've been coming regularly to our clinics. Jeremy has a lot of different mental health issues, gets himself into trouble when he goes off of his medications, but is so dedicated to Molly. He keeps trying, and that's all anybody can ever ask of him. Over a year ago, he got himself into a little bit more trouble and found himself incarcerated for a few months. Molly ended up with us. I'm very lucky because I do have my own hospital and I have some other resources. And I've known Molly for so long, I couldn't let her just go anywhere. So we ended up having Molly stay with me at my clinic and house for most of the duration while Jeremy couldn't be with her. Jeremy was out and it came, and it was such an amazing, wonderful reuniting time for the two of them. And since that time, this has been the longest that Jeremy has been on track, doing very well, doing much better. And Molly, who was attached to my side the last time I saw her, I broke my heart because she actually didn't really care about staying anywhere near me. So, but that's a good thing because she's so glued to Jeremy. They need each other significantly. So it's nice that they're back together again. The next story, the next slide. So Ivan, Piglet, and another cat called Cece, they were with their owner along with a dog. They were staying in a tent. Maggie and the dog and the 3 cats. It was getting winter, becoming winter. This was, I guess, last fall now I think of it. She would not leave the tent without her animals. That's a common story. These animals are a lifeline to them and their health, their mental health, and along with their physical health. Someone reached out to me and I said, yep, we'll get the dog into boarding. And I took the cats into my clinic and they stayed with me for 3 months while Maggie was in the shelter, because unfortunately a lot of shelters in Ontario will not take in animals. This is something that is a significant need in Ontario. There is one in Toronto and a new one that's now opened up in Aurelia, but we need a lot more across the province and across the nation as well, because they really need to stay with their pets. So thankfully, Maggie, she just worked her butt off trying to find a place. She was looking every day for jobs, looking every day for apartments, and so glad after the 3 months she found an apartment and they were all united together again. So this was when I was able to bring Ivan back to Molly, to Maggie, excuse me, at the shelter. Bringing her food, preventive medications. We take that when I have any animal that does come in and they haven't had any vaccines or care, they get exams, they get deworming, they get vaccines, they get everything that they need to improve their health. If they're sick, we'll do blood work and such like that. So yeah, so that's Maggie, Ivan, Piglet, Cece. Yeah, so next slide, please. So community veterinary outreach, it takes a lot of resources, a lot of networking, a lot of stakeholders for this to work. And it really does take a village, just like it takes a village to raise kids and families. It takes a village to execute our community veterinary outreach clinics. Between it's food companies, it's drug companies, it's different mental health associations, all the different agencies, social work agencies as well. Next slide. And along with the village, we need people. We need a lot of people. The amount of need that it's just continues to grow. Everybody here you see, including myself, we are all 100% volunteers. The only people that are paid are at the top of the charity who have to be there for us, for the charity to run, because it is a lot bigger now. So our CEO and COO, but everybody else in the entire organization is volunteer. So those are just a few pictures of my recent clinic, the last one last fall, that was held at one location in Newmarket. Next slide. So we are operating on a One Health model. Veterinarians have been recognized as a gateway for our clients to reach out and accept help for themselves. A lot of the times they receive disrespect when they go to hospitals by different healthcare providers, just society in general. But veterinarians, the clients will look after their pet more than themselves. So they will bring their pet to us so they can get their pet what they need. And at that same time, we're able to offer them human health services, and they're more willing to accept the help of just offering all the different services that are at our clinics. Next one. So what we do is we have our clinics. I do One Health clinics in York Region. We offer pet exams. They have their vaccines. They get deworming, their flea and tick prevention, microchipping. So we have all the services there to make sure that the pets are healthy. We have veterinarians with veterinary technicians, and vet assistants, general public that are assisting at the tables, doing all these, helping the veterinarian to execute the services that their pet needs. But we also have human health services there, like I was mentioning. So we have people from the York Region Public Health. We have different social work agencies. We have a whole bunch of brand new eyeglasses, so eyewear for the clients, mental health piece, sexual health, harm reduction, smoking cessation. So we have all those services there available to them when after they've seen the veterinarians. We introduce them to our friends with the human health tables. So if they'd like to talk to them or access our services, they're able to. What really works if when we keep having them back clinic after clinic, they get to know us. They get to see that we're there for them. There's no disrespect. We only totally respect each other. We're honest. They can trust us, and we built that clinic after clinic after clinic. So each time they come back, they're more willing to talk to the public health nurses or social workers and ask about services and take and willing to take advantage of those resources that we can provide them. So we're helping those people who are unhoused, vulnerably housed. They may be youth on the street. They can be seniors who only have a pension or just some government subsidy. Everybody is welcome. We do have some criteria I'll get to, but everyone is welcome. It doesn't matter what the background is, be it from any religious or location. We're trying to reach everybody that needs our help. Yeah, and so there are 11 teams across Canada, and then there is one in the United States. Community Veterinary Outreach was founded by, I'm very proud to say, by Dr. Michelle Lem, who was actually my classmate. Didn't know that we were both going to be winding up working together later on this far down the road. But 2003 it was started, so 22 years ago, and I started the one in York Region in 2017. Next slide. So as I was saying, what does a client look like? It's anybody. It doesn't matter what the background, what the age, where they're from. Sorry, if you can hit the button, because there should be a couple pictures there. We do have, unfortunately, the stereotypical that people judge, but we have so many different families come that need us. Right now, it's really the worst it has been. The social workers I work with, they say they've never seen it this bad. They have people working full-time jobs and living in their cars right now. It's that bad for housing across Ontario. If you want to just hit the button there, a couple. So this is just, just showing you who we're helping. People with disabilities, substance abuse, mental health, everybody is welcome. It doesn't matter where you're coming from. If you need our help, we're going to do our best to help you. And next slide. So now I'm just going to kind of go over, I did say a little bit what the clinics look like, but I'll just do a little bit more. Next slide. So who is eligible? So if they are unhoused, vulnerably housed, that's one criteria. It could be someone who has a pension, but they don't, they're just living, month to month, never knowing if they're going to still have a residence. Social assistance, pension, ODSP. Our clients all do usually have a caseworker, and they're coming from one of the agencies that are part of our team. And we also do have to look at if they've had a VCPR, is veterinary client patient relationship. So if someone has been to a veterinarian in the last 6 months and they've been doing, a bunch of care and such, then we do have to really take a close look at that. Part of my governing body, the Community College of Veterinarians of Ontario, we do have a fine line because veterinarians will get very upset if it looks like we're trying to take their clients. I know that sounds very silly, but we do have to have that consideration in place. A lot of the times they might have just seen a veterinarian because their animal was in so much pain or had a bad ear infection, but they haven't had vaccines for years. That's a gray zone, and those usually get a pass because they really don't have a regular veterinarian. So a lot of the times we just bring them in anyway. So it's not a stern thing, but we do have to look at that. And then our One Health clinics, we do have sometimes a couple different sites that we visit at. We are doing the vaccines. Oh, and it is appointment based, so we can't just have them open clinics. So they are referred by a caseworker. They are entered into our record, our cloud-based window, and then they are scheduled in an appointment. So we do have we don't have it overwhelming because dogs and cats, everything gets a little bit crazy at times, especially when we start getting all the dogs in. It gets very noisy and very chaotic. So to try to keep control and make sure everything is flowing right, it is appointment based. And then it's followed by booster clinics and we get spays and neuters done for those who need it as well. Next. One more thing there. And then we don't have pet fair clinics because I am a veterinarian and I'm able to host because I am a accredited mobile service. We don't have pet fairs in York Region. Some regions aren't able to, they don't have the money or the resources yet to have a full One Health clinic, but they do have pet fairs. There's no medical record keeping, but they do have grooming. They still get pet food. They do have toys and all kinds of things that are donated. They do have some One Health services embedded in there, but they don't have, unfortunately, the exam and vaccine piece for those ones. Next. And then this just shows you across Canada where we are. We go from way up in the Yukon from Whitehorse and all the way across to Halifax. There are 5 in Ontario, York Region, Toronto, Ottawa, and then the Kingston and Barrie. Barrie and Kingston are a little bit newer, but they're doing amazingly well in those regions. Next. So we're looking at all kinds of different partners to make this work. We have to have the human health agencies. I don't know how to reach out to the clients, but the social workers do. So I know what I can do best, and we rely on everybody else to bring in their skills and their resources for these to make our clinics work. There's a lot of logistics and a lot of little pieces to put together, and without having all these different partnerships, we would not be able to do what we do. We're very lucky. We do collect a lot of information and data and studies. We do research with the data that we're collecting to show companies, because we need to be continually asking for the financial donations. So by putting out information that what we're doing is making an impact for the human health and the animal health and keeping animals out of shelters, we're keeping them together. This is making a difference, and it's lessening the burden on our system in general if we're keeping the people healthier, because we're keeping the animal healthier. So they're not getting as sick, they're staying out of trouble, they're keeping themselves clean and sober. They're taking responsibility, they're trying their best to get a job and get stable again because they want to do everything for that pet. Next. So like I was mentioning, what we're doing, we're delivering care for the pets. We're delivering the care as much as we can for the people as well. So the services for the mental health support, primary care if they need a referral. In the fall, we are able to do vaccines at times. The harm reduction piece is very, very important, and the nurses there have naloxone kits, so we can make sure and they can have as many naloxone kits if it's for their friends, their family, themselves. Never any judgment. This is a friendly, warming, hug feeling atmosphere for all of our clients, and everybody just enjoys the day fully. It's a big social party almost when we're all getting together. And then sometimes we're able to have other things like pet grooming, but the dental supplies, the food, Royal Canin has been an amazing supporter from the very beginning. They provide us food. I have food all year round that I'm able to hand out between clinics as well, just because I'm able to store it at my hospital. Some of the clinics too, I'd like to say some of these things on there, you see ticket defense and legal advice. Ottawa has that. Foot and hand care. There are some, every clinic in every region has something a little bit different to offer, because we all are trying our best to pull in different resources. Ottawa and Toronto have been the longest standing, so they have the most resources to offer their clients. We're doing pretty good in New York region, but there's definitely some more services I'd like to provide in the future. Next slide. And again, I've already kind of hinted on this, that by changing, if we're creating a healthier pet, the person is going to get healthier, and that is proven that people are healthier if they have pets. It's going to stimulate them to change their behaviors, be it exercise more, stop smoking, because smoking in the house will affect their pet. So that motivation to improve their health is there. And again, as I've already mentioned too, drug use will go down, keeping on medications to keep their mental health stable. That also improves. After being incarcerated, it becomes a very big motivation for our clients to do their best and to stay with their pet. They know we're going to help them, but when they come back, when they've been away from their pet, or I have to talk to them while they're separated from the pet, it's very heartbreaking for them. But they are very, very grateful that we're there helping them out and supporting their pet and keeping their pet healthy when those kinds of things happen. Next. Yeah. So for 2025, that's the information at the top of the 1,300 vet hours, and that's actually gone way up for 2025. Our year end is in March, so everything has gone up significantly over the year. Pets helped went from 1,300 to 1,727 over the last year. 295 pets receiving emergency care. That's something I'm able to provide in New York region, just because I use my hospital as a base. So I'm very lucky that I can help more pets and more people between our clinics throughout the year. Over 25,000 kilograms of pet food has been distributed across Canada. Over 1,290 clients served across Canada. It's just incredible, the numbers that unfortunately are just continually going upwards of the people who need help. Next. So if you have a pet, you probably know that, you say they're my best friend. They're my fur baby. I want to do everything I can. Sometimes our clients, if they're so disrespected and they don't feel like can turn to anybody, the only thing that they do have is their dog or cat, because it's unconditional love. It's their entire family, and they will do everything they can for that pet before they look after themselves. It's incredible how well these pets are looked after. They're usually very healthy. Maybe they have some dental issues, that kind of stuff, but in general, they're very healthy, whereas the client is not as healthy as we'd like to see them. So by us helping them to support them looking after their pet, it gives them a little bit more energy and a little bit more encouragement to look after themselves a little bit more too. Next. And these are just some more sayings that I mean, these are the statements that people tell us. And it's incredible. I like this one. Do you know that my dog is so special? Don't we all feel that our own pet is like the best and it's the most special pet? And you have to see my dog because they're so beautiful. They're the best dog ever. So it just warms your heart when you see the smiles on everybody, and they're going home with a healthy pet, all vaccinated, with pet food. We have swag. They get jackets, toys if they need some, kitty litter pans. We have all kinds of stuff there for them to take home for their pet and themselves. So it just makes these statements, I mean, like, it just makes them feel even better that they're doing everything they can for their pet. Next. Next, if you want to just hit that. Yeah. So as I said, you know, and people know when they come, you know, the first time they always come, they always think that we're going to probably take away their pet because they don't have any trust for people in the healthcare system. But once they come that first time, they see that they can trust us. We're there for them. We're there for their pet. There's no disrespect. It's just complete love and care that we try to provide the pet and the client. And that's it. And I mean, you know, we see what they need and we do our best to provide it when we're there. And if we can't do it while we're there, then we have the different resources to figure it out afterwards as well. Next. And then that's a QR code that just goes to the Community Veterinary Outreach website. If you wanted to volunteer, you can go on there and there's just a volunteer question and questions that you would just fill out and what areas you're in if you'd like to volunteer. Like I said, if we don't have volunteers, we can't do this. We have volunteers just like Bianca was saying, you know, people with all kinds of different backgrounds and media, photos. One part of our clinic, the best part is we actually have a photographer that has come every single clinic to our clinics. She sets up backdrop and she takes pictures of the pet and the client together, prints them off. They're like beautiful high-end photos, and they all go home with photos in a little photo frame and a card from the clinics, or multiple of them. It's I think everybody's favorite piece, but we like to see everybody from any background, because I'm sure there's something, if you love animals, whatever you have in your background, you can contribute to a clinic in some way or form. So if you want to volunteer, like I said, and you can put in what region, whatever it is across Canada. Most of you are obviously here in the GTA region. So Toronto, York region. I know Toronto would also love to have more volunteers. We can never have enough volunteers. So reach out to us via that page. My email is up there as well if you'd like to reach out to myself. And thank you very much. Any questions?
Sorry, one moment. I'm trying to get back to the screen.
Yeah, I apologize. I'm so bad with technology.
Sorry, thing is glitched. There we go. I think I can hear again. My microphone was not working there for a second. Why can't I hear anything? Uh-oh. Can you hear me? Oh, there we go. Sorry. Yeah. My microphone was a little bit glitched there for a second.
All good. All good.
So we have a question in the chat that says, I had a question regarding your veterinary experience. What made you want to be a vet?
Well, that's quite funny, actually. They're not as big as what they used to be, because I was born in the late 60s, but my mom had one of those big, well, it was a folder, and it started with junior kindergarten going up to grade 13. And you would put your school pictures in it or artwork, you know, your mom and dad would save a bunch of stuff in each one. And on the back, it said, what do you want to be when you grow up? And junior kindergarten, my mom wrote on the back, veterinarian. So it was in me that I always wanted to be a veterinarian. I don't remember it that far back, obviously. I always wanted to do it. I worked in a veterinary clinic in the early 80s down in North York. Kind of got a little shifted just by a couple things, and I thought, no, I don't want to do that. But then I had a whole lot of pets in the 90s that were sick, and the veterinarian that I worked with at that clinic would come and help us out. And I was doing all kinds of different things for the sick pets. And I'm like, no, this is definitely what I do want to do. And then I just went back and started investigating on how I should do that. And I was very lucky. After my first application, I got an interview and I just got in, and it's just kind of rolled for me. So it's just been in me from the very beginning, and I've been blessed to be able to achieve that dream.
That's amazing. We have another question in the chat as well. It says, what experiences or skills would you recommend students develop if they're interested in community-based or outreach veterinarian work?
So outreach veterinary work, I think it's both, both sides, both the animal side and the human side. So just for example, like In From the Cold, which is our shelter partner in Newmarket, they take volunteers in the kitchen and just volunteering to be in a shelter, just helping at mealtime, for example, and getting that experience working with the different populations, the marginalized people that society disrespects, because I really don't like people disrespecting people on any level. It really bothers me. Everybody deserves the equality that we all deserve. But working in any public setting, really, be it uh, like I said, shelters, food kitchens, that kind of stuff, seniors homes, youth center, working with kids when they're younger, and any way to develop your human communication and interaction skills. Because it doesn't matter really if you want to get into veterinary outreach, the more you can build up your human interaction and communication skills over your life and all the different experiences we all have, certainly the better. Veterinary wise, getting experience in places like the Ontario Turtle Conservation Center, okay, any Shades of Hope, some different wildlife centers. I know it's always difficult to work to get in at a veterinary clinic to get experience, but if you really want to do it, you just keep applying. And getting large animal experience, because you want to get experience with small animals, pocket pets, wildlife, large animals. Again, it's hard when you're in the city to get horse or cow or pig experience, but it's incredible how things just develop if you put things out there. Talking to people, keep talking to people. Talking to people is really important because you never know who you're going to talk to, who's got a connection that's going to lead you to where you want to go as well.
Yeah, exactly. I think we have, one more question. Mia says, thank you so much. That helps so much. I would love to get involved. Is this something that people can do one day of volunteering, or is it long term?
Nope, one day. So when I have, so you say you filled in the sheet and then it gets sent to me, I reach out to you saying, thank you, I've got your email. I have my email base, and you're into my email list. And when I get dates for clinics, I send out an email to everybody. And if you can come and help that day and it's usually approximately 9 o'clock to 4 o'clock. I try to respect it, and we keep it a certain time of 2 hours setup. 2 hours setup, a 3-hour clinic, and then 1 hour to clean up. Never usually goes that late. But if you can do it, you say, hey, I want to come and work. I want to come and volunteer at this clinic. If it's not right for you, you don't have to respond, or you can say, thanks, I can't come, but let me know when the next one is. Okay, so right now I have 4 clinics for the year for York Region. I've just set the first one for 2026 as March the 29th, and it's at the Newmarket Community and Lion Center, right in downtown Newmarket. So yeah, you just reach out to me, but you just come when you can. There's never any pressure to come. If something happens, people just say like the night before, the morning of, hey, I'm sick or something has happened, I can't come. Because I try to have more people booked in, volunteers, so I can slot them in and to fill up the spaces. So when it comes to outreach for all of us across the nation, you only come when you're healthy, when it's right for you. There's no judgment. If you can't come, it's okay. It's totally okay.
Amazing. That's actually very, like, because I volunteered at a couple clinics before, and as much as it is volunteer work, sometimes there was judgment there if you missed a day or two, and it actually made it a little bit like almost kind of overwhelming to go in sometimes, because there was this always like there was always judgment there if you missed a certain day. And I think that having that, like, not having that fear of being judged is actually, like, I think it's very, like, nice to have when you're trying to volunteer somewhere.
Yeah, in the early part, I had some other challenging stuff going on in my life, and there were times, and Michelle, who was the founder, like I said, and she'd be like, Angela, you're going through her. It's okay if the clinic doesn't happen. Like if a clinic couldn't happen, it's okay just to cancel it. Like that's how easygoing everybody is, because if it's not right, it's not right, and you come back and we try again another time. And so that's just the way it is with volunteers. If you can't make it, it's okay. It's totally fine.
Right.
And I mean, when people come, you come the first time not knowing what to expect. But I can promise you 100%, everybody has such an amazing time. You feel so good. The clients are so thankful. They thank us so much for everything that we give them and offer them. It's just every day is an amazing day when we have a clinic.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Does anyone else have any other questions?
Okay, I do. I would say thank you so much for giving us all this insight. I would love to come help out, but I just had a question. Would it be on the QR code to?
Yeah, so we go to the website, and then through the tabs and stuff you'll see to contact us and volunteering, and you can just do it that way. But honestly, if you wanted to just, my email's on the presentation, you can just email me directly saying that you want to come. You don't even have to go to the website, and I will add you into my list of emails and I'll send it out. I usually send it about 6 weeks out before a clinic, just to see who wants to come and start getting volunteers at about that time.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Amazing. If that's all the questions,
Awesome.
I think that's it. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming. And we hope that this event highlighted the many different ways that animal welfare can look, from urban settings to wildlife conservation to community-based veterinary care. These perspectives really remind us that animal welfare is deeply connected to social, environmental, and structural issues. So on behalf of AWAC, I want to thank everyone who attended today's event, all the speakers, and your presence was genuinely, truly means a lot to us. And we hope everyone has a wonderful rest of their night, and happy holidays to everybody.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Happy holidays. Thank
Thank
you.
again, guys.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Take care.
Yeah.
Thank you.